We have ourselves a great college basketball matchup, UConn versus UNC. This is also played at Fenway, the home of the Boston Red Sox. This is a college football bowl game between the UConn Huskies and the North Carolina Tar Heels. UConn made it to a bowl game for the second year in a row. North Carolina, miserable little season they got going here. Fire their head coach. Obviously, the big story with them, they hired Bill Belichick. Also, ironically, this is played in Boston, which is where he made his entire living at the New England Patriots. So he'll probably have a lot of home field fans there. He'll also probably make an appearance as well. He will not be coaching. None of these new hires coach in the bowl games. Will be on the sideline taking interviews, but they won't really have any say in the game unless Bill is just different, which he very well could be. But North Carolina is still a 2.5-point favorite in this game. Over under is 52.5. This is a couple days away. So the opt-outs are not quite finalized yet. So I would encourage you to go look at who's playing, who's not, who's injured, who's transferring, all that kind of stuff for this game. I'll send it to you first. This is probably one of my most difficult games to predict. So I'll send it to you first on your bet for this game.
Yeah, it's funny that you mention the basketball because every time I scroll past this game, I think basketball immediately. I think it's going to be a really good game. But it's football, and I do still think it will be a good game. The only way I can even look here is UConn plus the points, and I actually like it quite a bit. UConn is not used to being an 8-4 team. Really, not even used to bowling. That bowl game they made was actually back in 2022. They did miss last year. Just had 3 wins last year, but before 2022, you have to go back to 2015. Before that, it's 2010. And really the early to mid 2000s. You have to go all the way back to 2009 to find their last bowl victory. And I don't have their records, but you'd be hard pressed to find a UConn team that won 9 games on the season. So I really like UConn here. I think they have a lot to play for. A really good season. They came out of college football's basement here and put together a really nice year. Meanwhile, you mentioned UNC. They have all the hype surrounding them with Bill Belichick. 6-6, a poor year. We're used to seeing them be more of a power conference or more of a power team with, Drake May was there when Mitch Trubisky was there. I feel like there's one more that I'm missing in between the two. But yeah, I think it's a down year for UNC. I think they're ready to move on with Bill Belichick and play for the college football playoff next year. And UConn, I mean, this is kind of everything for them. A 9-win season would be huge for that program. So I like UConn a lot plus the points. I actually think they end up rolling North Carolina in this game.
Yeah, Sam Howell, I think, was the
Yep.
mediator between those two. Yeah, I have a hard time backing North Carolina. Just because they're miserable. I do think maybe they're a little hyped for the next season with the new coaching hire, probably the biggest coaching hire in college football. Again, is it going to work out? I have no idea. I don't even know if Bill's coach at the college level. I don't know.
Yeah,
So it's definitely going to be interesting, but it is a lot of hype as well. So I'm a little worried backing UConn because I do think North Carolina does maybe have some hype for the postseason or the next season. So I'm going to go a different avenue. I do lean UConn, but I don't think I'm going to bet it. I'm going to take the under in this game of 52.5 points. I think it's pretty easy to see just the recency bias. UConn's last game against UMass was 47-42 win. You can look at that game in a couple different ways. UMass is not great. No offense to your buddy. they're not a great program over there. So they allowed 42 points to a pretty bad opponent. They also have a couple other high scoring games there. And then if you look at North Carolina, they allowed just about anyone to score points on them. I think they allowed like 80 points. That's not true. 60 plus points to App State. Their most recent game was a 35-30 loss against North Carolina State, a 41-21 loss against Boston College, a 31-24 win against Wake. All very high scoring for for North Carolina. But I just think it's going to be a lower scoring game. I know there's some North Carolina guys opting out and transferring. I don't know exactly who. I just think UConn's going to struggle a little bit against a power 4 defense, even if it is North Carolina's, who is terrible. And add on to that half the field is covered in dirt. So I'm going to I have seen a little rain as well, but I don't believe in weather. So that's not a reason for the under. But I just think offense is going to be hard to come by. in this game. So I'll take the under 52.5, but would lean UConn with you as well in this game. We do have, go ahead.
I was just gonna say my buddy is no longer at UMass,
Oh,
so
phew. Yeah,
as
UMass
of
sucks.
the end of the season, so he'll be somewhere else next year. We're hoping Big Ten, but
Okay.
we'll see.
Now all the UMass slander is okay now. We do have another College Bowl game tomorrow, also played on a MLB stadium. So make sure you stay tuned for that, as well as a full slate of College Bowl games continuing today. So make sure you do check out our page for every single preview. Until then, guys, we'll see you in the next episode.
See you guys.
You better start listening to the Better in Green podcast. You will not regret it. Trust me, trust me, trust me. And hey, I'm Dean Blandino.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Better in Green, eh? To Better in Green, eh? To Better in Green, eh? Listening to cash out, that's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover old spot from the bottom to the top, hey. Shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome, welcome to our podcast. Better in Green.